Welcome back to Area DMG. I'm your host, Will Wesley, the Mile High Mouth. And for today's episode of Suki Nihon, we are looking at episode 20 of season 1 of Gravity Falls, Gideon Rises. At the end of the previous episode, episode 19, Dream Scraperers. Anyways, Gideon gets a hold of the deed to the Mystery Shack and decides he's going to start tearing it apart to build Gideon Land. And Dipper, Mabel, and Grunkle Stan are living with Seuss and his abuela, which is like his grandmother. That's what that means. Funny thing. Seuss's grandmother, his abuela, is voiced by the same person that voiced, if I remember correctly, the same person that voiced Mermando and many of the boy band members in Boys Crazy, as well as many various other characters outside there. So that's pretty funny. Gideon plans to destroy that because he's looking for a first journal. And the twins decide to try and gather up gnomes to attack him. This doesn't go too well because Gideon kind of gets the gnomes to help him. Then Gideon discovers the third journal. Dipper drops his book, the journal. Gideon takes it. And the kids are they're going to end up on a bus going out of Gravity Falls. One thing I find kind of amusing is after the Mystery Shack is essentially closed, Seuss kind of becomes the Kirk of Gravity Falls. If you've ever seen any episodes of Gilmore Girls, by force probably. I mean, no one voluntarily watches that, right? No, nobody voluntarily watches that show. Anyways, Seuss becomes kind of the Kirk of Gravity Falls, taking on all these odd jobs. He's working at Lazy Susan's Diner, he's driving buses, he's doing all this other stuff, which is funny because Seuss is horribly incompetent. But he's the bus driver, he's driving them out of Gravity Falls. They're going to go back to their family because their summer is over. But we flash back over to Gideon, who's all like, wait, this is the third journal. He thinks Dipper might have that first journal. So he goes and gets, McGucket is building him like this giant mecha robot thing, which requires him to sync up with it, similar to how they sync up with stuff in Pacific Rim, which is obviously what the reference is. And he starts chasing after the bus that they're on with his giant mecha robot, and then like a battle on top of the bridge above Gravity Falls ensues. Eventually, Dipper and Gideon get into a bit of a fist fight, and they eventually the mecha thing falls off the bridge. Mabel's grappling hook saves the day, preventing Dipper and Mabel from falling to their death, and Gideon is technically defeated, except there's one more thing. There's a little B-side story where Grunkle Stan kind of tries to figure out how Gideon knows all this stuff about the town and how he was able to pull off some of the stuff that he does. And he finds out that Gideon has been using miniature cameras all over the place. This breaks the heart of the citizens of Gravity Falls after it's exposed and Gideon gets arrested. And that's pretty funny because they find out that he's spying on them, because nobody likes that. Nobody likes being spied on, especially, it's not a good thing to do. And they arrest him for breaking their heart. So actually what I find amusing is they send Gideon to an adult prison. They send him to an adult prison, which is so weird when you think about it. But anywho, at the end of this episode, Dipper ends up with Gideon loses the second journal. Stan picks it up. Then Stan finds out that Dipper has the third journal. At the end of this episode, he asks Dipper if he can read it, if he can borrow it. And Dipper's like, okay, that's fine. But as we're coming along near the end of this episode, they've got the Mystery Shack back, Gideon's been defeated, they have to rebuild all this stuff. And then you see Stan take the third journal, just laughing about how silly it is. He gets up to his little to the Coke machine inside the Mystery Shack, enters his little code, and goes down there. You find out that Grunkle Stan has the first journal, and the first and second and third journal are needed to he opens them all up to a specific page, which shows a schematic of a giant portal that he fires up, and that's the end of the first season. I have to say that ending the part there is just great. I haven't commented too much about the music in this series, but there's this great slow version of the Gravity Falls theme that's playing during that entire sequence, and it works just great. It's just it is a heck of a way to end that first season, and it was a great season overall. A lot of filler, but it goes through it pretty quickly because all these episodes are really great. First season is awesome, and it sets up everything that comes to fruition in the second season beautifully. One thing I like is that Alex Hirsch got the ability to finish up the story. It really bothers me in some shows, like a lot of anime, where they're not allowed to finish up the story, and that's sad. But yeah, at the end of the first season, Grunkle Stan has powered up a portal-looking device with the power of the 3 journals, which he had the first journal, Gideon had the second, and Dipper had the third, and he's got all of them now. Which that'll probably come up in the second season, which it does. But yeah, that's a pretty awesome episode. What'd you think of that episode? Hit those comments below. When I first saw this episode, like a long time ago, it was because I've watched this series as it came out. I just didn't review it as it came out. And I had to say that it was brilliant. I ended up watching that last sequence over and over again, looking for little clues, trying to figure out what's going on with this. And that's one thing I like about Gravity Falls. It is a complete package, which is nice. And it's hard to find anything streaming for it. And as of this video, it hasn't been released on Blu-ray. Last part hasn't even been released on DVD. Kind of sad when you think about it. Come on, Disney, get up off your butts and fix that. But yeah, excellent. If you love this thing, like I do, hit those comments, hit that like thumbs up thingy, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And until the next video comes out, you are now caught up.